Hi there. So, happy Wisdom Wednesday. This next video is to talk a little bit about. So, last week I talked about healing being our gift and how that came about, and why I choose to call my practice and my teachings Healing is Your Gift, and the story behind that. One of the things I didn't mention in last week's video, and all these words came out of me own inner empowerer and inner leader, and I kind of made up these words. And after watching the video myself, one of the things that I think I really wanted to say, but kind of it didn't come to me, and what is really behind all this is being your own inner authority. So truly being your own, being your own inner authority. And like I said, I want to really I don't like making blank statements, so obviously we don't want to self-diagnose something when it comes to like a physical ailment of some kind. But I'm going to talk a little bit in this video about how I came to this idea of being, more often than not, in a lot of situations, learning how to hone my intuition. Because intuition is so much of what's behind Healing is Your Gift, and using it as a muscle. And so I want to talk about that. So yeah, being your own inner authority, and how do we do that? First of all, I knew about intuition. You know, I've always, of course, known about it, but I don't think I really had a strong intuition, or like a healthy, developed intuition about 7, 8 years ago. And that's when I just started to explore alternative healing modalities outside of the Western practice. And I just come back to the physical practice, physical body, because that's where I started. I started with my diet. One of the ways I discovered healing is my gift is I started to explore a vegan plant-based diet, where, you know, it took me about maybe 2 years fully to fully cut out dairy and meat and eggs and things like that. And so once you start there, that's a really good place to start with your own body and your food, and to learn about intuition that way, and awareness of what is my body like and what it doesn't like. And for me, that was the right path to go. It was really mind blowing. Really mind blowing. For those of you who knew me at that time, my skin cleared up, a lot of water weight dropped off my body. All the animal fats that I was holding in my body for my entire life came off, and then I replaced them with healthier fats, and I was in a really good place. And that was like a really, like, looking back now, that was a really big stepping stone for discovering that I was my own best, biggest healer. The next thing I did was Chinese herbs. So that's, of course, when I started seeing Jeanette. I started seeing Jeanette shortly after my dad passed away in 2011, and seeing her for a variety of different things like acupuncture, or for, you know, consultation on my diet, on herbs and supplements and things like that, holistic health care. And at the time, I was also still seeing a Western doctor, but slowly kind of easing out of that, because, again, that was very prescriptive. I, you know, lived my whole life with bronchitis, and I had pneumonia, and I kept getting bronchitis. And then I remember the last time I went to a doctor, I asked for, you know, I was there, and I remember saying, this is the last time I'll probably go, because I know for sure they're just going to test me and they're going to give me an antibiotic. It's going to go away and it's going to come back again. And that's exactly what happened. And so I haven't seen a Western medicine doctor in like probably 7 years. I'm trying to think if there's any other time in between then, like maybe gynecologist. But I haven't really felt the need, because I have someone who I trust, and I think that's the most important thing. There comes back to trusting in someone else, but you're using your own inner voice and your own intuition to go and find that person that you trust. So also developing that ability to use your own intuition. The next thing I did was habits. So when we often talk about like working on yourself, and this could be a whole other video, working on yourself to me and working on myself really means ending old habits that no longer serve me and putting into place new, healthier habits that serve me better. So it's just like creating a new habit, and creating a new habit takes a long time. So obviously, I started that new habit with my diet about 7 years ago. What are we now? Yeah, God, that's crazy to think. So the seed was planted about 7 years ago, but you know, probably took me a while to actually become vegan. And so that's an example of that shift and of habits being changed. So just changing old habits, ways of, even just subtle ways of thinking that were no longer serving me. I did also see an astrologer who I think I've mentioned at some point on here. Erin Fogel was great. She brings the subconscious to the conscious mind and really helps you to see things that you're doing that you didn't know you were doing. I was living outside of my own body a lot. I wasn't aware of my own body. I was often, comparing myself a lot, which I still have that tendency to do. It's something that I'm always working on. Something that I just, is a tricky thing. But something I really came into my prominent awareness because of astrology. So learning to ground into my body and not pay attention, literally like keep my eyes on my own paper, keep my eyes on my own life, and say, this is me, this is my thing, this is my jam, that's their jam. And that's cool. And we can both coexist at the same time. And that's taken me a really long time, and by no means is that something that, like, I don't believe we're ever like healed 100%, by the way. So healing is your gift. Healing is an ongoing thing. Being is an ongoing thing in the world. Becoming is an ongoing thing. So becoming is your gift could be another way of seeing this all. We're constantly in a state of becoming. So those are some of the things. And also another thing I did was surrounding myself with good people and maybe letting go of the people that, were not serving me anymore, and they let go of me. It wasn't really like even something that I like cut the cord. I mean, there were moments of that as well, but also just really trying to pay attention to that over the last few years of like, who is it that is serving me and who is it that's not serving me, and just more so who is serving me, and I'm gonna go chase after those people, and then the people that are able to follow and will follow will, and the ones who won't. And so focusing more on the positive that way, like who is it that I want to be surrounding myself with? And I'm just a naturally, innately curious person and a people lover. So, through schooling, education, things like that, I've automatically found people that I jive with, and I've maintained that relationship through traveling. I've been pretty good actually maintaining some pretty awesome relationships. From over 7 years ago, from like 10 years ago, that I'm still pretty tight with these sisters. So those are some of the ways that I've been able to develop my own intuition and become my own inner authority and my own inner healer. So I just wanted to share those. For some things, maybe you're wondering, like, how does she do that? And how would I become my own how do I make my own inner healing my gift? And I think it's important to remember that healing isn't just like, healing is not linear, but healing is also not just a physical thing. It's an emotional thing. It's a spiritual thing. It's, like I said, sometimes it's just like, if we think about constantly trying to heal ourselves as well, then that can be a huge task. I wasn't doing all that with this constant, like, I'm going to heal myself now. It was like, I just want to be a better person. And I just want to live a better life than I'm living now. And I'm a very goal-oriented person. I'm about 50 years ahead of myself. And so it felt very natural for me to want to just like improve areas of my life. And that just became my gift. And then now I'm at a place where, I'm obviously still ongoing and still learning, but I have a lot of good tools under my belt for learning how to hone in on that intuition and know what's right for me and what's not so right for me. So that's it for this Wisdom Wednesday. I hope that helped for some of you. If you have any questions, let me know. And I look forward to chatting with you again next Wednesday.